So I figured this was something that I wasn't going to make a video about for whatever reason, but I realized, why not? Yeah, why not? A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to audition from one of my favorite bands. That band is Nevermore. Nevermore is not a band that I've talked a lot about on the channel. With all the videos that I've done, songs in different styles, I never did a Nevermore style, which is weird because they're one of the most influential bands for me as a vocalist, particularly Warrel Dane. May he rest in peace, who passed away in 2017. And in December of 2017, when he died, I did a tribute to Warrel Dane by singing Heart Collector, and I put that on my second channel.
Nevermore to feel the pain, the Heart Collector sang.
Now, years later, it was March of 2024, I got a DM on Instagram from Jeff Loomis, and he had mentioned how he wanted to talk to me and Van, the drummer, and talked to me about the possibility of me singing for them, wanted to hear me sing more songs. Now, I think at that time they were probably they just had the idea that they wanted to get the band back together. I'm like, wow, that's what an honor that this is one of the bands that got me to explore my voice, when I was 14, 15 years old, when I just started to learn how to sing. And it was just such an incredible honor. It was very surreal. They asked me to sing clips of River Dragon Has Come, Narcosynthesis, and another song. It might have been I, Voyager.
Hypnotize me, wash away withdrawal. I am the Voyager.
I'm going to put the full clips up on my Anthony Vincent behind the scenes channel that I put that first video up on years ago, so you can listen to it there. But anyway, time passed. They had other projects to tend to, and these things usually take time. So didn't hear from them in a while, and eventually I heard back from them in last year when they opened it up to more of an audition situation where they wanted to get the word out to more people and, have other singers audition as well as a second guitarist and bassist. So they had asked me to sing Sentient number 6 and Born.
I am the new awakening of different time. We are the same.
And then it was about a month later, they said they had filled the spot with another vocalist, and that was the end of it. I didn't hear who it was. I was excited. I couldn't wait to hear who it was because I love the band so much. And, Nevermore was one of those bands that I always kept track of through the years while they were active, and I was always interested in hearing new stuff. So I had no doubt in my mind that whoever it was that they picked was the best possible person for the job, and that was it. That's all I knew about it. So it wasn't until recently, the past couple of weeks, that they put out the official lineup. They showed some footage of them practicing and rehearsing for their first show on April 1st over in Istanbul, and they announced the players. So we have Berzin Onan as the vocalist, and it's funny because when I was auditioning and I saw that they did open auditions, I saw him. I remember seeing him. I didn't watch his stuff, but it was really because I didn't want to overthink anything and just, it was just whatever, it wasn't... I didn't end up doing that. I didn't end up going and watching all the auditions. So now, obviously, that he's picked, I want to see him in action, So I want to go through him singing the song Born by Nevermore, which I think is the perfect thing to watch here because it's really amazing. Okay, first of all, effortless, number one. Number two, look at this guy. He's got all the presence in the world, and that's just him singing. And he's got great control, great tone. It's natural. Here's the thing. Warrel Dane was a very unique presence, and he had a unique voice, a unique vision. He set that band aside from so many other bands. just by being a unique singer and visionary. One of the best lyricists, honestly, in metal, in my opinion. And, you know, that right there, it's interesting because that's something that I was like conscious of when I was auditioning is like, can I even, like I had some doubts if I can even pull that off, you know? And this guy is very much just natural in being able to not only pull it off, but do it in a way that doesn't seem like a replacement. It seems like almost like if Nevermore was a story, he's another character, you know? And the dude's jacked, number one. He looks like a mythical figure, like from Game of Thrones or something. This guy has got a fucking kick-ass voice. He's got the theatrical emotion down. I knew it. I knew that they would have picked somebody that was perfect for it. And I got to say, for me personally, whenever you try out for something like this, and I've had a couple of times where I've tried out for bands. I mean, for those of you who know, and I've been doing this on YouTube for a while, so you never know who's watching, okay? The first band that ever reached out to me, like before I even had any views on YouTube, was the Trans-Siberian Orchestra back in 2013. I did an audition in Manhattan. I remember it was a rehearsal space in Manhattan, and I did an audition for TSO, and it was a bad audition. I wasn't very good. I was underdeveloped, and I didn't have a lot of technique, and I worked my ass off for a year before I put out my first viral video. That's where I was before that. There was a lot of growth. But anyway, there's always stuff like that. And, you know, when someone has interest in you and it's one of those things where you don't get the job, there's always a kind of feeling like, you know. But at the same time, I have trained myself to have low expectations with these things and not take anything personal. And it's all about, at the end of the day, what feels the best. You know what I mean? And my attitude from the beginning was, if this is right, it's going to happen. If it's not right, it's not going to happen. And that's just how it's going to be. So this guy, he's really great. And I'm not sure who they picked for the other members, but they all sound fucking awesome. Because I saw Ola's video, Ola England. I want to watch a little bit of that. You know, he did a whole thing on them because Nevermore is one of his favorite bands. You remember a while back, Ola gave me a challenge to sing We Disintegrate by Nevermore when I was doing challenge videos on this channel.
Anthony, what's up? I have 3 requests for you today. Number 1, Nevermore, We Disintegrate.
It's really cool, man. Hold on, let me just get to this real quick. See, now, that's one of my favorite songs, by the way. Sentient number 6, that chorus is such an awesome chorus. It's like a soaring chorus. And the reason I love it so much is because a lot of the times in this genre, you've got singers who belt really high, and it's awesome. Listen, there's nothing like a Bruce Dickinson type vocal. Okay, Dio and high, you know, mix belting and its range, and it's amazing. But that's the other reason I love Warrel Dane's voice, I always have, is that he had this beautifully chesty, deeper, belty voice that was just dramatic, emotional, and theatrical, and it didn't go that high, which I love because my natural range is kind of with that range. It's that place where you don't have to think. I want to hear him talk.
And his lyricism is beyond anything I've heard before, and it influenced me deeply. It shaped the approach I had to singing and writing lyrics, you know. So yeah, it's like I said, it feels unreal still, and it's a huge honor, and I have some very big shoes to fill, but I'm up for it.
Dude.
And I'm extremely excited for it. It's gonna be fucking amazing.
This guy can do voiceovers. Just him being candid, he has such a presence. He's like the way he speaks, it's almost like he's got like this, he's from a different time. Like he's a character, you know, and I say that the best way possible. He reminds me of like someone like a character that you would see like in Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or, you know, something like that, because it adds so much. That's that relates so much to the band. Like, I mean, their sound, it fits so perfectly with the imagery of the band. They all look great together too. I wish them all the best. I know they're going to kick ass. I can't wait to see live footage. I hope that, you know, when they come to New York, if they come to New York, I'd love to go check them out for sure. I'm so happy to see the conclusion of this saga, you know, of getting new members for this band. And really, I can't stress this enough. It's always the bands who are an acquired taste, because that's the thing about Warrel Dane. And I remember friends growing up when I was getting into Nevermore, and I found them. It was at a time where I really latched onto them because the sound made the most sense to me. You know, Metallica was one of my favorite bands growing up as a kid. I wanted to find a band that sang. You know, not like James Hetfield, but you know, when you go into those gateway bands, you open up a world of heavy metal that's a lot of screaming. And there's a lot of great singers too, but I didn't necessarily want all the high singing stuff. I wanted something that sounded like something I can sing. So I gravitated to Nevermore. Plus, growing up and being brought to Broadway shows as a kid, and you know, one of my first Broadway shows was Jekyll and Hyde. So I was raised on all of this really theatrical stuff. And that's the other thing too. Like, it reminded me of that. It reminded me of like musical numbers, the way that he would sing at times. And it was just not typical. It wasn't poppy. It wasn't mainstream sounding. And I loved it. I really loved it. But, you know, in my friend group, while everyone was kind of discovering new music, there would be some people who liked it but didn't like it. You know, some people liked it, and that's the kind of effect that Nevermore had. Is either you loved them or you didn't, or you had to warm up to them. I think all great bands are an acquired taste. All great music is usually an acquired taste. You know, I felt that way about Type O Negative when I first heard it. It was something completely different. I had to warm up to it, believe it or not. Type O Negative is one of my favorite bands. So really, like, for those of you who are watching from my audience and you've never heard of Nevermore, I really think you should give them a shot and you should listen to their discography and go through their songs. Dead Heart in a Dead World, that album got me through a lot of shit when I first discovered them in the summer of 2002. And that's actually why I made the memorial video when I sang Heart Collector, which is one of my favorite songs, that summer of 2002 when I found them. You know, I was going through some really hard times. It was my introduction to panic attacks and anxiety. And, you know, when you deal with that stuff, you go through a period of completely relearning how to participate in life again. There is before panic attacks and after panic attacks. It's like your life before anxiety, life after anxiety. You really do become stronger as you go. It really is night and day. The more you do, the more you experience in life. And it's come a long way, I'll tell you that, being a 14, 15-year-old who was, you know, scared to do anything, and the things that I've done since then. But that band, it was healing music for me. That album was healing music. Dead Heart in a Dead World. It really put me in a place, got me inspired. It made me want to sing, and it made me want to make music like that. That was unique. And I didn't give a shit about if it was popular, if it was on rock radio. None of that shit mattered. You know, it was all about the song. It was all about the feeling and being a part of something great and making something great. These guys, they have everything that a great metal band should have. Everything. I didn't speak enough about their musicianship because that in and of itself is very unique as well. You know, they were heavy as the bands of their time, but they had so much depth and nuance and character that went beyond what a lot of the bands were doing. It set them aside. It didn't make them necessarily better, but it set them aside. You know what I mean? Very unique band, and I'm so happy to see them continue their journey. I think it's done very tastefully. A lot of bands, they go and they're doing this whole tribute, you know, bands that lost a singer. The biggest example is Linkin Park. You know, they're creating new music and stuff, and there's controversy. I get it. I understand, because anybody who comes in to a situation like that where you're filling the shoes of someone who it's like impossible to fill their shoes, like it's got to be a lot of pressure. In this particular circumstance, it feels so natural. It's like the most natural I've seen in this situation. I'm excited to see their future, man. I'm excited to see it. So yeah, awesome. Very happy to see this. Amazing choice for vocalist. Thank you, Nevermore, for giving me the opportunity to audition when I did. And I cannot wait to see what comes next. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Have a good one.